this is the instrument cluster for the F-150 and kind of the process or the thought process we went through in designing it. And what we did is we actually started with all these cards in a thick stack pile, and we handed them to our customers and said, tell us what you want in your instrument cluster, tell us what you want in your navigation screen, tell us maybe what you want in both, tell us maybe you don't think this feature belongs in the vehicle at all. So we let them go through this and sort things out, and what we found was our truck customers were a little bit different than our car customers, and that what was in their instrument cluster, they really wanted to be more vehicle-centered. Multimedia things such as radio controls, phone controls, weren't as important to them as knowing about what the truck is doing at that specific time. Big reason being is, like, one lady was explaining to me that as she was going across Texas, she has her horses back there, and if she, tire pressure goes up as the temperature increases in Texas in the middle of the desert, and she wants to know what's going on with that, because if she has a blowout, last thing she wants is her horses to be 100 miles away from water. It could be a big problem really quick. We narrowed down that, okay, all the vehicle functions live in the cluster and which ones they wanted. We said, okay, well, now what do you guys do? Where do you want? How do you want to sort them? So we handed them Post-it notes and Sharpie markers and said, sort through these and put categories on them. If you were designing the cluster, how would you design it? And when we started that, we kind of thought, all right, we're going to get answers all over the place, and there's going to be no continuity. And actually, it was kind of cool. Everybody came and they grouped them in 4 to 6 categories, and things that we saw repeat were trip and fuel, vehicle, off-road, trailering, and settings. And we saw that trend over and over, and we went through 50, 60 people, and we kept seeing those come out. So what we did is, after that, we went iteration after iteration of designing the cluster to try and make sure that all these features that are in the new cluster are exactly where you would think in the tab structure that you go through to navigate through. The other thing that we learned was a lot of people had their favorite screens, and they wanted quicker access to it. And everybody had a different use case that they've used for the truck. Some guys tow, some go off-road, some do both. So in the cluster, there's something called MyView, which allows you to take your 7 favorite screens and actually set them like presets like you do on your radio. So then you can set up the cluster and customize it to exactly what you want. And then you just use the steering wheel controls. There's an up and down arrow. You can quickly go between all those screens really easily. Some other things that we looked at, other general ergonomic things, is if you guys want, try putting on some of these gloves. And what we have here is knobs. Like
one or two?
Oh, just one. And this is like your radio knobs, like your tune and volume. And a lot of our competitors' trucks, what they're doing is they pull knobs right out of cars. And the problem with that is that our cars have knobs that are shallower for design reasons. And when you go to a truck, it's harder to turn this smaller knob with a glove. So go ahead and try that one. And what we did is we wanted to make sure that we could make it easy. So kind of hard to turn.
Yeah.
Go ahead and try it.
Next to it. No, it's easy. This is really easy.
Well, I'll try turning the bigger one though.
Oh, that's totally.
Yeah, so we wanted to make sure that we had enough distance. So if you want to pass this around with some of the gloves and other people try it out, go for it. Some other details that we really went into is, so the truck has that new 400 watt inverter and the caps to open it. So you want a little click in there so the cap closes securely so it doesn't open as you're driving. Well, we wanted to also make sure that the efforts on this weren't too high, that when this is mounted in a panel, you're not sitting there trying to really get your finger under there and open it. Well, we knew what that number had to be, but we said, well, what about when you have gloves on? Because you don't have that sensation of feeling the edge as much. So we actually went through these, and if you guys want to try these with the gloves, again, if you open these just with your bare hands, you probably won't notice the difference as much. When you put the gloves on, the efforts make a really strong difference. And it kind of goes to the productivities. So you have the guy that's a carpenter or working in the field, and he forgot to plug his drill in. So he wants to use the new 400 watt inverter to plug his drill in to charge it. He doesn't want to have to take his gloves off to be able to plug stuff in. It's all about efficiency, because every time you take your gloves off, as easy as that sounds, it's still some time. That's an annoyance.
Also, well, it's not ruining my manicure.
Yeah, there you go.
That's my concern.